Welcome back, everybody, to week number 8 of Stage 4 of the Quake Pro League. My name's Ketchup, joined by ZSX. Our next matchup is definitely a heavy hitter. It's going to be Av3k and it's going to be Coollerz, a matchup I know a lot of people have been looking forward to today, and we are mere minutes away from finally seeing it through.
Yeah, really, really excited, actually. I feel that Coollerz has dropped off the pace a bit. I think we saw him start the season in around 3rd position, and he's now down in 8th. So he's definitely got a point to prove. Having watched a lot of his stream recently, I felt he's definitely stepped up his game a bit, and he's somebody that tends to do that towards season finals when moments that matter. And he's always Coollerz. So he's somebody you have to put in contention time in, time out for championships, final placements, and he's obviously massively disappointed with the performance last time out, getting knocked out by Chain. I'm sorry, that was down in Poland, but even before. So got a point to prove, and going up against Av3k, it's a pretty traditional rivalry, one might say. And in all honesty, I think Av3k's been getting the better of Coollerz in recent times, and he's come on some, having been relatively mediocre for Av3k's level of play for some time. I think he's beginning to now progress again.
But I think with this matchup too, one of the bigger things is that both players have quite a lot to gain from a victory here. And, dare I say, at least a strong victory, because Coollerz is in a position where he really wants to start climbing back up this leaderboard. Like, I doubt, like, as you said, I don't think he's particularly satisfied with how things have currently been going. And there's a good chance here where, look, a good victory over Av3k, that's going to give him a great leaderboard position, or at least, be a start of that. We have a couple more weeks to go. But on the flip side of that, if Av3k can take a dominant victory over Coollerz today, I mean, that injection of points alone is going to be great, especially when you factor in that, 2 players underneath him in CNZ and Sparty had a 2-1. It's a matchup where they didn't really get much of an edge over each other because neither of them were able to obtain a 3-0. And if Av3k is able to get a 3-0 today, he's just going to simply push above 2 players that are underneath him right now. And it's as we're reaching those later stages of Pro League, that's where points are really going to start being counted. No one wants to be within that lower end. But as we can now see, here comes the picks and bans. Doomslayer versus Galena on Awoken, Ruins of Sarnath with the Ison and Strog, and then finally Molten Falls Visor versus the Nyx.
Once again, nothing massively untoward here. I think Visor versus Nyx and Molten is quite an unusual pairing. Don't normally see those picks. Ison on Ruins is an Av3k staple. He just loves that champion. He does use it very, very well. Again, may struggle up against the Struggle Pika just because of the speed difference there. Awoken, we see Doom versus Galena, fairly standard. So nothing massive here. It's definitely personal favored picks. I see Av3k pick Visor and Ison a lot, and similarly for Coollerz, he's a bit more flexible in his selection of champions. So I'm more or less happy.
If I were to put you on the spot and give you a prediction call, who do you think has the edge?
I still feel Coollerz has the edge. I definitely feel Coollerz has the edge, but I don't think this is going to be as one-sided as we've seen in the past. I'm going to put it a 2-1 to Coollerz.
I think 2-1 Coollerz. I know Av3k has actually looked pretty damn good against Coollerz as of recently, but there's always the chance that... I mean, the thing is, it could definitely go either way this time. It's quite hard to make a prediction here. I think the safest prediction is a 2-1. And, not really mentioning either side is probably the safest bet you could go in for, but I think what we can guarantee is that we're going to get a really good matchup. Remember, everyone, get involved in social media, the hashtag Quake Pro League. Let us know what you think of the matches, who you want to win. I know that Av3k and Coollerz are absolutely fan favorites at this point. They have been for many, many years. And it is always a treat watching them go head to head. But we'll just see what the current form is looking like. We're loading into Awoken now. So in, I'd like to think about less than a minute, we should be in and good to go. But see who's going to take this one. I mean, leaderboard placings alone, I think Coollerz wants to prove to himself that he can do better. And Av3k, I mean, the higher he can climb in the leaderboard closer to the end of stage 4, the better, because he's not on the higher end of it.
No, and it's the time of the season, as I said, where you'd expect everyone to be taking small steps forward in terms of building confidence and everything else. But it's just that we're at that stage in the QPR now where all the players are at such a high level. It's almost impossible beyond perhaps like a Rafa or a Cypher to say if it's going to be one-sided, because it is just so close throughout. So yeah, it's just credit to everyone, really.
The level of, I mean, player-wise, the level of Quake is so insanely high. Everyone has gotten so good by the end of Pro League. It's great to see the growth of a lot of these players. But checking things out from Coollerz' point of view first, he has the rail, and that's a good start. But Av3k doesn't want to give up too much just yet. The push down towards Nail is going to get quite rightly scouted out there by Cooler. Looks for a bit of a fly-by rail, but to no hit. But at this point, as we start off now, yeah, Coollerz going to play that careful game. Looks like Av3k's going to be quite confident to push in here.
Interesting.
Confidence is the magic word as he pushes in with the Berserk and gets a frag from it. All right, nice job.
Interesting.
Wow. I mean,
That's quite the opening.
To be fair, the term Av3k aggression exists. Man's going to pop the Berserk and get the kill for it.
Av3k is a bulldog for a reason.
Just threw his weapons down. My guy just wants to punch and throw down. But now with a 2-0 lead.
Mechanic, wouldn't it? If dude drops all his weapons and went full ham.
Berserk beyond Berserk.
Yeah, just super quick. Double the damage.
Cooler is pretty far behind here. Dropping down towards... I mean, I do like the choice to drop down towards heavy machine gun. I mean, if he's going to consistently get bullied away from rail, he needs some kind of avenue for range damage here. And Av3k is... I mean, quite rightly, he's controlling the entire, like, heavy half of the map. A good opportunity there from Cooler, though. Positioning himself towards Mega so we can get some of that free damage. Rockets are good. 2 shots
put it
for
into
200.
context, Cooler hasn't had a single major item this map. Not even the one off the spawn.
There is some damage from the totems. Now, can Av3k stay alive long enough? Cooler forced to retreat. The rail angle's been held. Av3k had signs of a rail angle there. But there's such a delay between the 2 items that Cooler, he can't even use that as an opportunity to disengage and take one. Should be a finish. Av3k takes a lot of damage, though. Looks for the rail, misses the shot. He is, at the very least, able to shut down the use of the Mega, though. So he gets at least 1 rail. Oh, no, another. Now what does Cooler do? The rocket jump, good call. Shuts down the rail completely, but now he's tender.
Yeah, that was so smart from Av3k. Understanding the weapon advantage coming out, Cooler not having a rail. Absolutely abusing that fact and doing a significant amount of damage. But Coollerz managed to regroup. He hasn't got anything to work with, but at least he's alive.
Finally been able to get a rail. I think this is the first time in pretty much all the map he actually has a rail in hand, and it looks like Av3k might be able to take it away from him. He's holding that angle. He's looking for it, and he gets it. Cooler. Oh no, the rocket hits the mark. And now with Av3k, a sizable lead, and he just continues to climb at the moment. He's done a lot of work in 3 minutes, that's for sure. Uh-oh. Again. This time, though, he uses the Berserk just to push him. No, he gets it again! Watch out!
As if!
Oh, my lordy! Cooler
Joshua.
getting Berserked twice in 1 map. I can't say I've ever seen that before.
It's incredible.
When did Doomslayer come out? Like the end of Quake, like just around QuakeCon 2017, I think is when he come out. I think that's the first time I've seen that many Berserks in such a short space of time. That's time for more.
Cooler is impeccable, but there is so much time before the next item that Av3k can get there to at least deal some damage, but does miss his jump and misses a rail. So Cooler gets another major item. Second one of the game.
Av3k has just looked so commanding. Caught with the wrong weapon out, but he doesn't instinctively fire, which is good. He swaps immediately to the rocket and looks for it. Cooler not quite able to really dish out any of the damage here. That is going to be Av3k at death's door from that one. And now he has to try and disengage. Watch out for those double jumps, and Cooler's just looking for the angle. The rail comes out. He had the right idea, but just didn't quite get the shot. And now more rails to come through. That Berserk used now to just try and escape.
That's such a smart use of the Berserk. Doesn't want to be involved in any sort of brawl right there. Just using it for the speed booster, increases dodge potential, get the item, get out, and now he's trapped Cooler. Wow, Av3k is playing out of his mind.
I think Av3k has got more use out of the Berserk in this map than I think we've seen anyone use Berserk ever. Like, genuinely.
I mean, we're going to actually have to start talking about it in the pre-match analysis rather than just ignoring it.
Which is what we've done for like years. 2 years, I think, at this point.
Oh,
he gets a
so
shot!
Nice.
2 health left, and he can still find a way to get it. Right,
Here we
Berserk.
go again.
Oh, no,
no,
not that one! Not that one!
A totem.
We barely got to hear the rock music. That was...
But the item's still up. Did he see it? Does he know?
I don't know.
Yeah, he does. He does.
Okay,
He's just waiting for information to hear where Cooler is before going to take it.
And there's a rocket launcher there to take, so, you know, more rewards. Both players incredibly weak, but in these situations, normally, it's Av3k that's just been a little bit more clutch. Cooler trying to make that rocket shot very risky indeed. But the 7-1. We have 4 minutes left. That's a lot of work for Cooler to do. Off the fact that Av3k is riding a lot of momentum at the same time.
Yes, it's not looking good for Cooler, but 6 frags on Awoken's not a lot. We know how much, particularly someone like a Cooler, can snowball, given control. But at this point in time, his momentum has been very much stalled by Av3k, who has been all over Cooler from start to finish. Stifled control, always getting the first damage. Oh, that was risky. He did take a roll for it just after picking up the item, so we did survive.
If we're talking of items alone, Cooler's not looking too bad at all. The danger is just the situations that he's not able to either create or take advantage of. Av3k
is doing so much damage in between pickups that Cooler's always struggling.
And it's also the fact that Av3k is controlling the higher ground all around. You know, Cooler may be comfortable living on the bottom side of the map, and he may be able to even survive for a while, but it's not really doing much to... Yeah, I think Cooler definitely determined that's a done deal, and we don't have time. That I think was a tactical suicide to just get us back into the match. That missed rocket jump, quite punishing, as now Av3k. I mean, it's almost completely unlikely he's going to lose the map at this rate. His control is immaculate. His damage is almost completely unstoppable. Looking for the close range. He's not even going to go for the stylish close range rail because it's not necessary. We want the win. 9-0. Av3k. I mean, surely this is a done deal.
Yes, this is very much a done deal. Cooler might get a couple of consolation frags, but he definitely doesn't have time. If Av3k plays well enough to come back into this match.
3 berserk.
Will he get another frag?
Way. No way. No, he shut it down. Cooler denies. He denies the triple berserk.
Oh my god.
LOL.
I'm going to start picking Doom and just spamming berserk. It's incredible.
I thought that might have been a splash. That was, I mean, if anything, that was the denial. That was the denial for what would have been one of the best Berserk games we've ever seen. I mean, I think this has already been the most successful Quake Pro League map for Berserk, personally, in an entire year of games, but...
I mean, I can count on one finger. One finger?
I mean, that's still not wrong,
that's
really.
Not even a Freudian slip. That's a fact. How many times have you seen a Berserk kill at this level? This map's got me giddy. It's good. And it's nice to see Av3k back. Like we were talking about, please, dear Lord, get another one. We're talking about how well Av3k's been playing recently. And it's just come to fruition to see him just manhandling Cooler. And Cooler will not be used to this.
Definitely not. You don't really see Cooler lose maps in this fashion all too often. But, I mean, actually, it has to be said, and we've been joking about it, but Av3k's use of the Berserk has actually been fantastic. I mean, it hasn't been... Sure. It's not been the deciding factor. You know, it's been his aim, his really incredibly good rails, the damage he's able to distribute, and, you know, his mobility around the map, just making sure that Cooler's never comfortable. There's been many, many moving parts, but his use from the Berserk, you know, sometimes when we see Berserk, it's kind of used to, like, troll the player. It's used as a kind of like a BM. It's used as a homing gauntlet in some ways. But Av3k has used the Berserk in this map when he has the stack advantage, when Cooler is close range, when he knows that there's not really a lot of weaponry Cooler can use to stop the Berserk from actually doing anything, and he's used it to escape too. He's used it to get in and out, that instant burst of speed. It's a layer that we're just not used to seeing it, and it's been, you know, a nice change of pace, I think. GG's.
100%. No, it's been really fun to watch. That was a really good map all round. Av3k, when Av3k plays well, I think he's perhaps my favorite player to watch. Like, just aggressive. He's always looking to be on the front foot. Innovative, just great aim, and very high damaging map all round.
We're looking at the items there. 13 versus 4 heavy armors, 12 versus 6.
I mean, how often do you see that? Like, Coollerz someone who's known for taking items and strangling maps just to have no control. I'm impressed.
And it's so many moving parts there. His totems weren't really able to make too much of a difference at all. Besides, you know, like that one totem near the heavy armor.
Oh, the berserk face plant.
The berserk just landing on it, and that's right out of there. But I mean, ultimately though, just Coollerz spent most of that map on the bottom side, not really able to get a footing in, while Av3k is using that double jump to just bully his way wherever he wants to go.
Yeah, Av3k's that damage output is so deceptively high. He's not the flashiest player. He hasn't got the world's best aim. It's just incredibly strong all around. He's got amazing dodge, perfect weapon usage, and it all adds up. He just does, as I said, he was doing so much damage to Cooler in and around outside of those item pickups that Cooler was always low on stack. And Cooler is somebody who loves to get a big stack and pressure items, but he wasn't able to do that. Av3k was consistently in his face from start to finish. Only took the items when it was safe to do so. And Cooler really had no answers. And that's when I was saying how well Cooler's been playing when I've been watching him on the stream. So, and Berserk MVP.
The denial there. That's what it was right there. I mean, I'm almost sad that was the final replay that we saw.
I'm sad we don't get to see Doom again this series.
I mean, it's just been a day. It's been a day of Doom for Av3k, and you know, it kind of almost matches him. Nice and aggressive, Doom Slayer, a very angry, aggressive man himself. He's been given those pain sounds, and he's probably even more angry about that, to be honest.
Yeah.
But no, we're moving into our next map now, Ruins of Sarnath. So it's Strog versus the Ison. Av3k with the Ison. You know, you've pointed out quite rightly that Ison is just a champion that Av3k uses a lot. We almost see it once a week from him, and it's just a champion that he seems to really enjoy.
Yeah, for me, it's definitely got good uses. I mean, we were saying what can you do against a big kill if you're just an Ison, and then suddenly MVP turret comes out with like 300 damage. So there is select case usage, and you can be strategical with it. For me, it's not the strongest pick, but definitely player preference. Now starting on Av3k, who's already got himself a good set of weaponry, just needs to pick up the rail to complete the trifecta. Cooler needs a lightning gun, but it's already setting up for the heavy.
Av3k chooses not to go in for rail yet. He pushes in full speed ahead. The turret's in play as Cooler takes a whole ton of damage. Wow. He's able to steal the heavy. He steals the heavy away, but look at the stack.
Cooler did 14 damage. 14 damage.
Well, Av3k just completely dominates that entire encounter, really. I mean, Av3k still hasn't even got himself a rail. This entire hasn't been necessary for how he's wanting to play this match. Pushed his way in, get a great mileage out of those rockets. He's now pushing himself down towards heavy, gets a good amount of damage immediately on Cooler, who obviously chooses to back out. That fight's not going to be worth it, and he wants to disengage. Sets up a rail angle, good shot to open. Here comes the Pika. To try and waste that time, it's unlikely. Cooler gets to the rail angles ready. Good shot indeed.
The pace being slowed down by Av3k now.
Cooler just about makes it up there. Now the Mega about to spawn. That is a really good rocket. Not
rocket.
Even for the damage, just the angle and the knockback, but watch out. Can't afford to miss these rails. Av3k forced down there and he gets caught. Wow, that one opening rocket. I mean, it wasn't even the fact that it did a good 70 damage. It was the knockback.
Yeah, but he blasted through the Mega, so it was almost nullified, unfortunately. Nevertheless, he's still pretty low, which means Av3k did get onto the heavy. Doesn't have any weapons, though, so that needs to be a big priority for him, and Coollerz will be very much aware of that, although he seems to have mistimed. Now realizing his mistake, does back off. But he's very much now out of position for the Mega as well. So this is uncharacteristic from Coollerz, missing out on full map control.
He's going back to a defensive position, I think, walking around the map to deny any audio cues while listening himself. Sounds like he's got a pretty good idea where Av3k is now. Av3k definitely didn't feel the same with those rockets nowhere near him. Looked like both players didn't quite have an idea over where each other was. Watch out for that rocket. Minimal damage done. Oh, a good call out from Coollerz, actually, knowing Av3k's going to go right round there.
Oh no, Coollerz. Oh no, Coollerz.
Ouch. Right as he pops the Pika. But it almost seems like he used it on reaction. That was an unusual time to pop it.
I think he wanted to use it before Av3k blasted into the room. Might have done it on reaction, but was very much a sitting duck.
More of this rocket damage to come through, though. Currently at 2-2,
nice.
Av3k's ready for the rocket jump. Nice reaction rail there.
Av3k is looking sharp. There is times where his execution has been not as crisp as this, and he's still been effective. So when then you flick that switch and turn him into beast mode, he becomes incredibly hard to stop.
Coollerz is going to try to just push his way in. The Pika to come in, and he sets himself up for the turret to finish the job. I do wonder what's going on with Coollerz. This just doesn't look like the Coollerz that we're familiar with.
Yeah, I think he's slightly rattled by how clinical Av3k's being. Like, his aim and dodge have just been on point, and Coollerz used to obviously hitting a lot more without his opponent retaliating as hard as Av3k's hitting. Oh no, the turret is still alive as well.
Two separate occasions for the same turret at that point, pretty much. That turret has in fact been MVP.
It really has.
Right. He has to be very assertive, I think, with this push. He knows he's weak, and even a Tribolt from that situation actually runs quite a big risk of taking Av3k out, so he's not going to try and push that. Coollerz. Opportunity to get some weapons. I think even though he might have even had a sight of Av3k there, yeah, he didn't have the right weapon. Can he finish it? No! He misses! Looks for the rail shot to finish it off, and he finally gets a shotgun blast.
These have been some of the worst Pika uses I've probably ever seen. I think every single one has been in a position where he's vulnerable. And now he's late for the heavy as well. Av3k's already there. Good timing from him. Easy frag off the spawn.
And Coollerz was in a tricky position back in that previous frag too, because obviously, like, he could clearly see Av3k round that corner down near where the hourglasses are, but he had no rail, so he had no choice but to just chase him super heavy.
Yeah, I mean, Coollerz just not on his game today. He's only got 10% rail. Barely used any of his weapons effectively.
The Pika's coming out again, but the Pika, I fear the Pika's kind of given his position away quite a lot. He's down near towards LG, and it's not really going to mind too much. He has been able to get the armor at least, but Av3k has just been so commanding. Does manage to get some shotgun damage. But that turret alone, it's going to hurt Coollerz, and the damage noises alone will confirm that. Oh no! Tries to go towards the Mega and shut it down. Av3k spawning closer. Happy to keep Coollerz weak at this point. Finished. Nice. Easy pickup and an easy finish for Av3k, who just looks a bit more just rock solid, I suppose, in this map. Another Pika does get a kamikaze, and that kamikaze fresh off spawn, I mean, that was his highest chance of damage.
Yes. Really fortunate he didn't die, but he didn't die, so that's what counts. He is exceptionally low. Pick up the Mega, but doesn't have the weapons to just drop down yet. Needed to pick up that rocket. Still got a bit of time before he can get across to the heavy. Might just decide to drop down and deal some damage. But for all things said and done, as average as Coollerz has been, the score is 7-5. So he's done a good job of somehow scraping himself into a solid position to close out the map. Nice rockets from Av3k. As Coollerz is just standing around with 5 seconds too early. Really isn't the Coollerz we're used to looking at.
More of the Pika to shut down. That one a bit more free. Cooler was definitely trapped in a tricky position because if you go down there, the turret's just waiting to finish you off. Cooler's choice to just go straight back up the jump pad. Av3k's going to punish that. And it's right when the heavy spawns, which is going to be bad to worse. His stack is massive. And Cooler, again, he's only just spawned, so what's he really got to fight back? Av3k, I mean, he's not able to really fight that, so Cooler did enough damage to push him away. Uh-oh, big miss. Some close-range rails that Av3k is putting a lot of confidence in. Definitely not hitting their mark so far. Coollerz looking to push in again. I guess his victory there was taking away the heavy. He had a good idea of where to place it. Here comes the Pika. Looking
nice
for more of it.
To kill that Pika. That right there is what I'm talking about in terms of Av3k keeping that pressure up on the map outside of items. It would have been easy for him to back off, and then Cooler would have regrouped and got another major item and been in a perfect position to take this heavy. But because of that one rail, Av3k's put him in a position to make that kill happen.
The fact that he got that so late in the map, I mean, that's really important. He's going to go down now, but the fact is that one frag has given Cooler just that extra amount of work to do with only a minute and a half to get it done. Cooler, although technically possible if he gets a frag right now, which if they trade is going to become less likely. Now it becomes difficult. Because they have to get their items. Cooler with only a nail gun in hand versus Av3k, who just shuts down that Pika effortlessly. And now he can start to play the retreating game. He can be defensive if he wants. Arguably put himself into a corner by taking that light, but even Cooler doesn't really have the weapons to do much. The super shotgun, okay, should be able to get a frag here. If he gets hit by a rail, that's bad news. And that is tragic. He's going to have to disengage now, and that's probably the map. Put all confidence in for that super shotgun, the push. Av3k able to not only get the rail, but the mega at the same time. And now there's just even more work to do and not enough time to get it done. Cooler had some signs of life here, but it's nothing!
And for all the praise we're heaping on Av3k's mechanical execution today, we have to talk about everything he's done start to finish. Decision making, his dodge, his turret placement and usage, his timing. The whole package seems to be coming together at the perfect time going into the Stage 4 finals. So if Av3k can keep that momentum up and keep growing back into the player we know he is, he's definitely in a position to be pushing for a championship spot. Cooler has looked average, let's be honest. But at the same time, it's unsettling when you're playing against Av3k in this type of form. So it's understandable that Cooler isn't at his A game. It's just really good to see Av3k very much at his.
And I mean, we're going into even more of it too. It's crazy to think that we still have to get through Molten Falls right here. But yeah, Av3k looking impeccable. And it's why, you can always, I know we'd given the prediction to Cooler here, but I think there's plenty of people out there that were sitting there thinking, oh no, Av3k's got this. Because we can't forget that Av3k has a pretty damn good track record against Cooler in competitive. And it's for, I guess, reasons like this, where Av3k, I mean, both players, they go way back. They've played many, many games of Quake against each other. Av3k, I mean, he knows what he's in for, and he just plays it incredibly well. And Cooler, there's definitely just been some
that opening
ropiness.
frag was absolute madness. Cooler that's known for his immense rockets doing not even a lick of damage in 10 rockets. It's mind-blowing.
And there's tons of frags to get through in this highlight reel. I mean, most of them went in the favor of Av3k. They were pretty back and forth, but it just felt like Av3k got more off his frags. Like, Cooler often would, some of these frags, there were some weird mistakes or just maybe being a bit too aggressive and pushing his way in. That one turret got two separate frags in the same position.
No, it's a valid point. Like, Av3k's frags were generally clean, whereas Coollerz were 50-50 scenarios that kind of went in his way, and then Av3k was able to put pressure back off the spawn. We also saw lots of really weird mistakes from Cooler. There was that missed time a couple of minutes in where he lost complete map control. He had 15% rail at the end of the game, 20% LG. Like, they're just not stats you would expect from Cooler, and not stats you can have at this stage of QPL if you're willing to compete. Like, So there's lots of things Cooler needs to reflect on. But it's just, as I said, Av3k's one of my favorite players to watch. So to see him at this level is really, really exciting.
And the extra element we absolutely have to talk about is leaderboard position. So, if I just consult the leaderboard from the site, here, we can see that CNZ and Sparty, they're right next to each other, really, whether it's like 16 and 18. And their match against each other going 2-1 means that no one's really going to get that much of a significant climb over each other. And they're both within that bottom spot. And here comes Av3k, who's just got himself minimum of 2-0, and he could, by all means, get a 3-0 here too. That's almost best case scenario for Av3k this week, to get his high amount of points. The rest of his competition really kind of stays where it is. And that's it. We only have a couple of weeks left of Stage 4 weeklies. Like, Av3k, if he keeps playing like this in the final weeks, more than comfortable on that leaderboard.
For sure. Let's see if he can continue that momentum going into Multum, where he has Visor and Cooler has the Nyx. Like Ison, Visor is very much an Av3k staple pick.
But Cooler, we've only just started, and he's taken a lot of damage. So he's having to instantly
go for that Mega, and he's not gone for it yet, but hearing Av3k pick up the heavy means he knows he's got an opening to go down. And he doesn't take a rail as well. Good use of the Ghost Walk. Av3k might not expect this. And he doesn't.
That was actually one of the most beautiful calculated ring outs I think I've ever seen. His mission there was not to get damage from Rocket. That was, I knock you off ledge because you are near ledge. That was so well done. But with it still being a 1-1, even off a play like that, Av3k is the one that has the stack. However, he's taken a bunch of damage, and Cooller's positioning actually near the stairs makes it a little bit harder for those rockets to connect. Av3k had all the stack where by all means he should have won that fight. That should have been his. Somehow it's not.
Cooler did have to put the Ghost Walk. I don't know if Av3k realizes it. I don't think he did, so probably won't be pressuring as hard as he would have done just there if he had known the Ghost Walk was off cooldown. But hitting that rail also means that Cooler is very weak.
Cooller's right behind him. For a split second, it seemed like Av3k actually wasn't quite ready. That piercing sight. Here we go. Information station. He has a rough idea now. Definitely. Cooller's doing a good job of being quite slippery here, though. Oh, speaking of which, he's just sneaking on right by him right there. And that little bit of rocket damage. Av3k tried to get a little bit of rail off that jump pad. Oh dear, here we go. Okay, point blank fight. I don't think either player was ready for that one, but it's Cooler who's coming off way better. Wow, Av3k weak just like that.
Interesting. Yep, as you rightly said, I didn't even expect that. They butt heads in the mid-ground. Nice use of the piercing sight. Back-to-back rails. I mean, they're both very weak because Av3k also ate a rail. He's railable and he is dead.
Right as Cooler manages to tease that one just in time for a heavy. Wow, Cooler with the patience. No! Oh, he had the patience! Right until the last possible second to get it. The rocket.
Gosh.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Well, I mean, no time to think about it. The question is, how do you get back up? How do you recover? Looks like he might even be able to finish this one. Misses the rail. Watch out for the plasma. Any single one of those would have taken him out.
After a very clinical map one, this is a bit sloppy from both players.
It's been chaotic, isn't it? Chaos. Absolute chaos. Opening rail. Right, good stuff from Av3k. A lot of defensive shots coming out from Av3k, though. He does not want to get chased down. This heavy's going to get soaked up there by Cooler, but with Av3k, all he needs is that one rail that just doesn't get returned. He's looking for it. The Mega about to spawn as well. Cooler. Oh, dearie me, the surprise! And it's way early before Mega spawns, too.
Yeah.
Av3k, perfect situation. The frag, the mega, the momentum. Tying things up now for 3-3. Is he going to beat him to it? Looking unlikely. Lots of LG and they trade
as well, yeah.
Who's going to get the better spawn? Looks like Coollerz for the mega at the very least.
Felt like Av3k could have committed for that heavy and maybe taken it, but played it safe. Coollerz hit some remarkable LG.
Really good 2 rails. It was a brave choice for Av3k to jump down there.
Oh no! Wrong weapon.
I do not think he was ready for Coollerz to be right round that corner, to be honest. The fact that he had a rail out after hitting 2 of them off the spawn, I mean, I can only assume he thought he'd be further away than that.
Oh yeah, for sure he did, but it was smart by Coollerz, realizing he's forcing his opponent to hit the shot, and when he didn't, it's game over. And this is the standard matchup of Visor versus Nyx, popping the piercing sight just to counteract that Ghost Walk. So he's got it on rotation with the Ghost Walk now. Seeing those time bars are gone means he knows where Coollerz is.
I think there's a lot of confidence coming out from Av3k as well, because even with that entire situation that happened where Av3k was near Mega with a rail in hand, that was the only weapon he had. And he still jumped down and tried to, and got Mega because of it. Like, Av3k clearly has a lot of faith in his rail in this series, because it's been such a crazy good weapon for him so far. Uh-oh, Ghost Walk and Piercing Sight just so happened to come out at the same time, so Coollerz is able to get in and out, but the information still belongs to Av3k, who, at this point, he's just trying to keep Coollerz on the end of a stick.
Yeah, just delaying Coollerz advances for this heavy. Nice rockets coming out. Av3k manages to get away without any damage, and Coollerz commits suicide. Whoops.
Some very uncharacteristic mistakes have been coming out from Coollerz all series long. Stuff that you just don't expect. That retreating rail that just catches him in the backside now. Been able to get himself a light armor, but that's kind of it. He's gonna have a rail, but I fear that's all he has, which is why Av3k pushed in so hard. He knows there's a rocket at the very least, but he had no fear at all to just push Coollerz of that caliber. He's very weak, though. Has the right prediction. He knows Coollerz going to chase him, and he does. Another rail. Av3k making this gap significantly bigger. Just frag by frag now. Just over 3 minutes on the clock. Av3k on the verge of defeating Coollerz again. That's a lot of damage. That's a lot of damage, and so is the SSG.
That was so smart. He knew that Coollerz had just used the Ghost Walk, and so if Coollerz wanted to commit for that heavy, he was dead. There was no way he was getting out. There he's ringed out again. Not again, ZSX. This is all she wrote.
Oh no! Stop it! Yeah, he almost ring out again, right there. Oh, this is the finish. This map is done. It's a done deal. Av3k completely dismantling Coollerz by these final moments. The ring outs have just been heartbreaking.
I haven't seen Coollerz play this unsettled for quite a while, if I'm honest. Like, we've seen bad games from Coollerz, but he normally regroups and puts in a performance, but this has been consistently off from start to finish, and it is in part the way Av3k played that map 1. That Coollerz just couldn't get a foot in. And Av3k has just kept that snowball going right the way through this series, and has probably put in a performance and scoreline that virtually no one would have expected. I'm sure many people said Av3k victory, but a 3-0? I don't know how many people would have said that.
And just the manner of which it's gone to, how good Av3k has looked and how dominant the showing has been. Coollerz. Oh, gets a good mid-air. Okay, better than nothing. That's a nice little shot, but unfortunately it's not going to be anywhere near enough. That rail, complete overkill as Av3k just continues this rampage on Coollerz. That was some nice LG, but yeah, too little too late at this stage. Coollerz is going to lose dominantly to Av3k this week, and this is not a result I think I would have completely expected. Not like this, right? Not like this.
Not like this. No, not at all. But once we said, Av3k is playing some great Quake.
Oh, that tri-bolt.
Oh,
Certainly doesn't tickle, and he's going to just finish it with a heavy machine gun for good measure. And there's a minute left of this destruction. We just have more opportunities for Av3k. This is one hell of a victory lap. Should be a frag there for Cooler. Forces the Ghost Walk. He's just going to delay that spawn to just see where he goes, yeah. Going near towards Heavy. Shock Horror. Oh, this should be a pickup. That will be a pickup. Second that jump pad was used, it was a done deal there. Av3k looking to get as many frags as he can in this situation now. Looking like he can get one more at the very least. 30 seconds left of this. And I mean, what really can we say apart from Av3k has had an incredible series, and it's great to see him, you know, in this form.
I just want everyone to put their hands together and have a little round of applause for how dominating this whole series has been from Av3k. Yeah, massively impressed. Like I said, it isn't. People obviously see the clinical side of his execution and think of how well he's playing, but it's been everything: decision making, strategy, positioning. It really has been an exceptional series from Av3k.
Well played, indeed.
Light, yeah, which puts into light even more so how bad Cooler is playing. Just the contrast of that.
It's very surprising to see Cooler. For me, really, it was honestly the amount of mistakes. They're not mistakes that you often see Cooler make, and sometimes they're mistakes that you won't even see him make once a series, let alone, I think, the amount that Av3k was like taking advantage of all the way through. And, you know, down to the final moments where Cooler, you know, there's always that point of no return where look, you have to start trying to push, you have to try and start making a comeback because you haven't got any time. You become more predictable. He is going to just get these crazy amount of frags. It's less about, I think, the frag difference by the end. It was more about just Av3k's crazy level of patience. Like his aggression when it was time to go was spot on. I just didn't think that first map was going to be such a taste of things to come. You know, with the sheer amount of berserks that we saw.
Oh, that ring out.
That ring out at the very beginning. I mean, that first ring out that Cooler actually got on Av3k was great. It's just, well, on the other side, sorry. It was just so many ring outs. That was a game of ring outs, 100%.
And yeah, it was just...
Stop it.
It was bizarre to see Cooler making as many basic mistakes as he did, but there were times where he showed moments of brilliance as well. So it wasn't Cooler just throwing in the towel. He was definitely out to fight. Av3k just was levels above today. And we've got another game of high caliber coming up next, I believe, Ryan.
Yeah, I mean, we've been blessed today. We have had a day full of fantastic games, and by all means, that's going to continue. It's going to be Coollerz versus Cypher as our next matchup, so we have plenty to talk about with that. And I mean, as we do, yeah, these final frags, definitely victory lap territory if you're in Av3k's position. But I mean, all the Av3k fans out there, I'm sure you're feeling pretty good right now. Well done, and I think he's going to be happy with that result. But as you quite rightly pointed out, our next matchup, Coollerz and Cypher, our second to last series of the night. We're going to go for a quick break. Quake Pro League. See you soon.